Reason why we want to do this, George, because it wasn't working before. That's the
Right.
ultimate reality of what we're dealing with today. It was not working. We were fed a bunch of garbage saying, eat this because it's best for you, go low fat, go high carbohydrate, watch animal products, don't eat this, don't eat that. But here we are fatter than ever. Here we are more unhealthy than ever. But we have something to cope with that. We have GLP-1s, that'll help you. And we have medications, that'll help you. Let me tell you something, brother. I feel like I'm in a wrestling promotion right now. Welcome to the 600 Pound Down podcast. We are back. The duo is back in action. Coach George, Coach Justin, two people, two coaches ready to really just tackle the world with health and wellness. George, welcome back. I missed you, man. I missed you.
Dude, it's been too long. I've been like running around, trying to like survive and like live. And I miss you, and I missed us. I miss what we got. I miss what we bring. I miss the whole entire interwebs being exposed to our wonderful and unique friendship. I wish you would have pressed the record button about 5 minutes ago. You would have had peak hyperactivity from Coach George today.
I would say I spared the world. I spared the world, guys.
Dude,
I spared you, Coach George's craziness.
I'm like intermittent fasting right now, not by choice, just by pure busyness. And so like I've had 28 ounces of black coffee, and now I'm drinking some tea. And so this is Coach George, all caffeinated and fasting.
Cheers.
And wasn't the plan, but life. So I will be eating really, really good tonight.
You're eating his 2,000, 5,000 calorie. Speaking of food, we are hitting on the food pyramid. That's today's episode. We've been going back and forth over text message with this and just talking about how important this is to talk about. When it first was released, I was like drooling at really my mouth was like on fire. I'm like, this is what it's about, and I can't wait to talk about it because it is so important, and I want people to understand. And this is not political. First off, I want everyone we're ruling out just because it's RFK. We're not being conservative side, the liberal side, or we're not going that direction today. Okay, so this is simply an episode that's middle ground, that is not tied up into that stuff. So politics aside. So
100%.
Okay, we got that out the way. Every time you bring up like any type of politician or any type of side, there just becomes this hostile feeling, and I'm like, no, we're not even gonna go there. We're just gonna focus on health and wellness and Jesus. How about that?
I mean, this is just good science anyway. Like what we're about to cover today is just good science. I mean, we've been saying this, Justin. How long have we been saying this, man?
A long time.
Like you've been saying this longer than me. We've been singing this song since like 2020, and 600 pounds down. We've been talking about this forever, and it's about time, to be honest with you. Like it's about time. I'm being really candid right now because this is just a candid ep. Like it's about time we started actually like looking at the science, looking at the metabolic science, the food science, and really formulating what should and should not be the majority of the diet. So I'm psyched about this. I'm excited to be like actually saying they did something right instead of saying the food industry is always wrong. Like this is a very exciting day for me.
Yeah. The guidelines have shifted, and I believe, and George believes that this is going to be the better way of consuming, and we're going to tell you why. We're going to tell you why we choose this approach. Even before it was released, this approach was something we've had in mind, we practiced, and we believe in. And so we're going to talk about it today. And I'm going to share my screen here in a moment because if you're watching this on YouTube, you can follow along with the screen share. If you're not listening to this on Apple Podcast or Spotify and even Amazon Music, if you're listening in on any of those platforms, just know you'll have the ability to look at this graphic on the notes or in the notes section. Okay. All right, George. I'm stoked, man. This is good. I know in the past there has been, so much emphasis on eat your grains, eat your breads, eat your carbohydrates, your starches, and all the things. This is we're going to compare the old food guide pyramid compared to the new approach to it and how different it is. And we'll share it in a second. But the old way of doing things, I believe, led to disease, led to inflammatory responses, led to an obese America, and has led to people getting addicted to carbohydrates because they are easy to go to, they are simple to make, and they're in a hurry. I'm going to grab this, simplicity's sake, convenience, all the things. It feeds addiction because when you put carbohydrate in there, that's sugar, that's potato, that's all, which aren't all bad, by the way. I'm not saying everything's bad. I'm saying, but the more we eat of that, our brains, like chemical balance, starts to say, oh, I want more, I want more, I want more, I want more, and then eventually is keep over consuming. So we're going to talk about how that is a blessing in disguise by cutting that out. And I was a carbohydrate fiend in the past. My clients are carbohydrate fiends in the past. And when we started coaching them or helping them or assisting them into a new scientific approach on food to help them lose fat, gain health, and gain life, then it was literally the today's version of the food pyramid. So we're gonna share my screen, George, and we'll get in. Are you excited, man?
Dude, I'm really am. So just got out of a meeting with a pastor friend of mine. We're discussing what a public forum on food and where we put food in our life, and so very excited about that. So I'm like coming off the heels of talking about this for the last 2 hours. And so, like, my brain is just like, I'm firing.
And you're fasting right now.
And I'm fasting. So, like,
yeah.
I'm like the cognitive flash right now. It's just like, it's just going. It's just going.
Good. We need some real material. So say some random stuff and I'll put it out there for you so we can get some people to come back. We need some good real content. That's good.
We're gonna man. So, like, so this right here. Right, this right here, like the old food pyramid. I grew up with this, Jay. You grew up with this. What was it? 6 to 11 servings, 8 to 11 servings of carbohydrates.
Yeah.
And it just got more and more as we went up. So, like, literally, it's inverted. So it's not even, Jay, that we switched it up a little bit. There's a complete inversion of what we used to do. So Jay, if I was just some random nobody. Compared to the the celebrity I am now. But if I were to come up to you, Jay, and be like, so why is it a complete switch? So tell me in a short version, Jay, why is it a complete switch and not just some minor tweaks?
Well, it's a complete switch because America is unhealthy. Let's look at our culture, our lifestyle right now. Obesity epidemic has not gotten any better. The heart disease is on the rise. Cancer is still on the rise. Diabetes is still on the rise. High blood pressure, high cholesterol, all the things that we're trying to avoid, that this food guide, this food pyramid was trying to help and negate, it wasn't working. And so you had wellness warriors out there and people from the wellness culture coming and saying, no, there's a better way. But it wasn't being received well by today's medical professionals. And I know offhand that this wasn't working because we focused on what? We focused on, hey, 6 to 11 servings of grains and carbohydrates every day. Okay, but America's not moving like they should. We're sedentary, like all get out. And so when you consume carbohydrates are used for energy. Well, my goodness, sitting in front of a computer for 8 hours plus a day doesn't require a lot of energy, George. Come on. So it was designed to say, all right, fat is bad. So we want to avoid cholesterol issues, want to avoid heart disease. Stay away from fat. Don't eat that. Stay away from this. Go ahead and eat. The one thing they had correct was eat your fruits and vegetables. I'm a big fan of that. I know our carnivores are not, but I'm just saying there's a lot of great benefits to those for the body. Great. Not all carbohydrates are bad, by the way. We're not going to say all that, but I'm saying the abundance of consumption and the go-tos was causing some issues, friends. Insulin resistance. It was causing chronic hunger in people because if you eat more carbohydrates, and that's the balance. That's the bottom of the food pyramid back in the day, right? You see that in the picture here. The carbohydrates were your number one. And then you go into the vegetables and fruits, which are still carbohydrates, by the way. And then finally, we're going to trickle in a little bit of the proteins and fats. And then what at the top was like what? Sugars and other things like that, right? So they had a few variations right on this. But there are a few things that they needed to change, actually overhaul. And the reason why we want to do this, George, because it wasn't working before. That's the ultimate reality of what we're dealing with today. It was not working. We were fed a bunch of garbage saying, eat this because it's best for you. Go low fat, go high carbohydrate, watch animal products, Don't eat this, don't eat that. But here we are fatter than ever. Here we are more unhealthy than ever. But we have something to cope with that. We have GLP-1s, that'll help you. And we have medications, that'll help you. Oh, let me tell you something, brother. I feel like I'm in a wrestling promotion right now. No, no. That is just a cover-up. That's a Band-Aid of poor planning with food. That's a poor lifestyle to live and stupid medical advice from physicians. Zip my lip. Talk, George. I need to take a break.
Man, why don't you tell us how you really feel, man? Wow. Man, you just went off. You went off like I go off. That's crazy. That's crazy. I love it. I'm here for every second of that. Well, and here's the thing. So I was talking with my friend earlier, and we were talking about the food pyramid because I was telling him that we were going to do this episode. And you think about Depression era foods, right? So what was going on in the Depression era? I actually have some recipes from the Depression era that my grandmother grew up on. And one of the recipes was chicken wrapped in bacon with a layer of dried beef on the bottom with some cream of mushroom soup. Now, Justin, I want you to tell me right now, where are the carbohydrates in that?
There's really no carbohydrates in that.
There's no carbohydrates in that. But what was it? It was protein and it was fat. Think about it. During the Depression era, during like anything before the 1950s, because, I mean, we could talk about the Rockefellers and everything else when it comes to the old food pyramid, but I don't want to go that way. I don't want to go that route. I could, but I won't. I'm choosing not to. I'm making a decision.
Self-control.
But with everything that happens in that old food pyramid with the pre-depression era, people were eating a lot more fats and a lot more protein. If you look at the obesity in that time, it was really non-existent. I remember listening to a podcast talking about that time era. If you were to go to, like, let's say the circus, this is the example they used. You go to a circus and you had all these abnormalities and all these people that were like different conditions, and you would see the quote unquote fat man in that time. The fat man at that time would be the equivalent to 80% of people at Disney World today. So their obesity rate was so low that their obese person was our normal person.
Man.
Because they didn't have a lot of carbohydrates back then. Maybe had potatoes, but if you think about it, it was not a lot of processed food, high protein, high fat. You eat a lot of high protein, high fat stuff, Jay. You're giving your body time, your brain in particular, to respond to the nutrients coming in. Because when you're eating those hyperpalatable foods, your serotonin and your dopamine start firing so much, it overshadows your ghrelin hormone, where by the time your ghrelin catches up to the other hormones, you've consumed 5 times as many calories as you should, and you're in a surplus. But back then, when you were having high protein, high fat, protein takes 3 times as long to digest, fat slows that digestion down even more. It gives your body and your brain time to respond hormonally to say, okay, you're done, stop. And you did, and you were fine.
Yeah. Exactly. There's something, satiation creates balance, and you're not over consuming carbohydrates. Guess what happens? Your insulin levels, your blood glucose levels, I say your blood sugar levels begin to balance, and
Exactly.
You're not under consistent, hey, let's digest this, let's process this. Your pancreas says, okay, I don't have to overreact right now. Right. So there's a lot of benefits. So the foundational piece here is that the old guide, the old food pyramid is outdated now. Science is suggesting that there's a better way. And it took an individual like RFK to bring this to awareness, but other people were saying this before him. Okay.
Yeah.
So, but looking forward, the philosophy that we've adapted today is that we're focusing on the quality of food. We're focusing on your metabolic health in general. I'm saying we're focusing like I'm part of this movement. I sort of am, to be realistic. Like I'm all about it. But we're talking about whole foods. Real whole foods first. That's it. Okay? And then it's minimal processed foods. We don't want to eat the hyper ultra processed foods. It leads to disease. It's not good for you. That's still in place. We're focusing on metabolic health over calorie counting. Now,
Yes.
Don't get me wrong, you may have to calorie count in your life. Some people might be more sensitive to calories than others, but we're focusing on metabolic enhancement right now with this whole new method of the food guide pyramid. And really, all that together, it just throws out the old way. It dismantles the old food guide pyramid because now we're paying attention to what we're consuming. And it's interesting because it's met with opposition, George. I've read opposition on this. Oh my gosh, they're telling us to eat fat now. Oh my goodness, they're telling us we should eat red meat. You notice on the, let me load it back up here, on the the
Yeah.
new pyramid.
Top right. The top left, I mean top left. That's my favorite piece of the whole food pyramid right there. Look at the top left. What is that? Big fat
That is a
ribeye.
big slap of beef.
Oh yeah, it is.
Yes.
That is, eat your red meat, people. Red meat is the way to go.
So we see
100%.
animal protein has become a new normal. That's probably the biggest transformation right now is the way. Okay, so that's saturated fat, and we've always been told saturated fat is unhealthy for you. Saturated fat causes heart disease. Here's the thing about saturated fat. Now, I can't go over it today. I don't remember all the details. I have to go back and restudy the whole thing. But there are different variations of saturated fats, and most of the fats found in beef is different than saturated fats found in other products. So not all saturated fats are created the same. They all have different types of molecular structures to them. Some are more dangerous than others. And also, if your beef that you consume is a healthy raised cattle, you know that you're getting healthier fats in that, and you are able to consume like more monounsaturated fat from healthier diets that are fed to cattle. So really, red meat isn't the issue. And the studies that were completed on red meat in the past, I'm not saying all of them, but some of the studies were based on processed red meat, which go through an unhealthy processing process. That's the best way I could put it. An unhealthy process. It can be bad. Yes, there can be some issues that when you're digesting that could lead to some colon cancer. But and I question this, was there ever a study completed on red meat consumption in grass-fed form or healthier form that was not processed, along with a healthier dietary approach to follow, aside from a bunch of ultra-processed foods that people were eating already, along with the red meat?
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
there's a lot of questions you have to ask through this whole thing to say, before it's factual, what was the scope here? What were the guidelines?
I think what happened is that people were taking into account the main character, so to speak. So the main character they were trying to locate was fat and cholesterol, right? But the thing they didn't account for is the sidekick of sugar. I think sugar, I saw this, I don't know how true this is, so here's a disclaimer, but I'm sure, and off the top of my head, I definitely see some truth to this. They are looking at the cause of heart disease, not so much in cholesterol, but the sugar consumption of an individual. And I think that's what we need to look at. We need to look at what is being eaten in conjunction with the sugar, because we were looking at fat, not looking at the sugar. So what? Fat is bad. Fat makes you fat. How easy is that to propagate in the news and in society and culture? It's so easy to propagate that. So that's when we went to a low fat message, right? No trans fat. First it was trans fats, then it was saturated fats. Everything's going to go low fat. And I just kind of want to break down just what were people hearing, what actually happened, and some science kind of behind that. So what were people hearing back then, Jay? Fat is dangerous. Well, fat is dangerous. So low fat equals healthy. So we need to eat more volume to stay full. Why? Because fat has 9 calories per gram as compared to proteins and carbohydrates, which has 4 calories per gram. So to eat more, you have to eat more to stay full. Why? Because fat takes longer to digest and it's more filling. So here's what was actually happening. So we removed fat, right? So everything went low fat. I still remember. I mean, I was born in 1994, so I remember this a little bit. I still remember seeing no trans fats on packaging. You remember that? Remember seeing no trans fats? You remember that on the?
I do. Yeah.
You remember that? I still remember that. And so, but then what was added? So if you take out the fat, which makes things flavorful, what then do you have to add in to make things flavorful? Well, you need to add sugar and starch.
Added ingredients. Yep.
So what happens then? Foods became easier to overeat, because what you did were you were taking into account the deliciousness of fat without the filling component of fat. So if you take out the filling component of fat and you just focus on the taste, when you add in sugar and starch, you're adding that taste back in without the filling component.
Yep. Try Try this. Anybody can compare this. And we're going to talk comparison of food. You go ahead and have 3 eggs and maybe a couple pieces of turkey sausage or something, and maybe a little bit of avocado and a little bit of berries. So you get a healthy carbohydrate in there for breakfast versus a bowl of oatmeal with some berries and maybe a little bit of milk. Okay. What one carries you longer? Most of the time, 8 out of 10 people I talk to will say, well, those eggs and that sausage and the avocado and the berries in the morning, that held me over for like 4 hours. Versus the oatmeal, they might feel like a brick's in their stomach because it's pretty dense carbohydrate, which is not bad for you. But the problem was they didn't get enough protein at that meal, and so they're hungry again maybe 3 hours later. Versus what if they had a healthier breakfast with more protein and good healthy fats, they would have less of an issue with feeling hungry earlier than later, right? So it's a big deal, and I think it's important to specify. We're not saying, I don't think this food guide pyramid is saying go ahead and overeat all the saturated fat you want to. It's not saying that. It's simply saying it's okay to eat this in moderate form. It's your agenda. If you decide to overconsume food, that's on you. We're not. I don't think they're for one saying go ahead and eat a whole 10 pounds of steak every single day. I don't think they're saying that. It's just put it in there because you got to educate yourself on healthier foods too. Healthy fat and healthy protein is not just beef, even though it's really good. I'm a big fan of beef. I think especially if grass-fed, grass-finished is so spectacular for you with all the micronutrients involved in that. It's phenomenal. But if you want to mix that up with some salmon through the week, get some omega-3s.
Dude, I love me some salmon.
Yeah, wild-caught salmon, insanely good for you. Really good for you. So you add that to the plate. Have some eggs full of a lot of healthy like choline and lutein. Great for your eyes, great for your metabolic health, and great. It's actually really, studies have suggested in the past that eggs are really a complete profile amino acids that do the best when people ingest them after a workout because they just work so well with helping your body and your muscles heal. But you can eat cheese and chicken. You can have, go ahead, eat some shrimp and fish, eat some yogurt. Like these are all things that are on the table. It's not just heavy saturated fat items, even though we're not really fearful of that. But it's just, you have, as the consumer, you and I, George, we have to be mindful of what we're consuming. And don't make this something that it's not. People are making this something, well, they're talking about eating saturated fat. Be quiet. No, they're not. They're simply saying eat high protein. They're simply saying eat saturated fat, eat fats in moderation, avoid the junk food that's out there, and you'll have a better turnout from your body by consuming whole, real foods in moderation than you would by consuming foods that you were consuming that's making you fat and making you sick. Enough said.
So, want to make sure we say this too. We are not medical professionals because what I'm about to say, I don't want to be taken as a medical opinion. You are. Well, you play a doctor on TV. But for realsies, we're not doctors. Right. So social medias don't pull us. But what I always tell people, because people see me eat, right? So I'm eating cottage cheese, I'm eating chicken, I'm eating beef. I eat a lot of protein. I mean, I eat at least 215 grams of protein, 220 grams of protein, because I'm 220 pounds. So I want to make sure that I'm eating 1 gram per pound of body weight. But to a lot of people, they're like, dude, I don't even know how you eat that much protein. Like, how in the world do you eat that much protein? And here's what I love. This is what I love right now, is that protein is now front and center. Protein is finally getting its due. Let's put it at the front of the class because it really does so much. I love that we have higher protein targets and it's openly being discussed. So the higher protein targets that are now being propagated is 1.2 to 1.6 kilograms or grams per kilogram of body weight. I don't know why the U.S. is using kilograms, but apparently we are. It's America, but I guess we're using kilograms. So 1.2 to 1.6 grams per kilogram of body weight. I love that. That equates to about 0.8 to 1 gram per pound of body weight, for anyone that's wondering. Dude, I just did that in my head. This fasting thing is great. It's because I'm fasting.
But when you say that too, I don't want to preface this as we're not doctors. If you have a kidney issue or maybe your doctor suggests not so much protein, then you need to listen to your doctor. We're not telling you to eat college protein. We're talking about experience from George. For the majority of America, this is actually is a good thing. So, okay, George, just wanted to interrupt you for that.
No, no problem. Yeah, and that's absolutely true. Because everyone's built differently, right? So I mean, I eat a certain way. Justin eats a certain way. Joe Schmo down the street eats a certain way, right? Our bodies are different, and so I love that higher protein targets are like we're openly discussing that. This is great, and it's no longer treated as optional because the top three things that I can think of: it controls your hunger, it preserves your muscle during weight loss, and it increases calorie burn slightly when you digest the food, right? It has a higher thermic effect. Protein has a higher thermic effect. That's what it's called. It takes more to digest, so therefore it burns calories. And quite honestly, Jay, out of the 3 macronutrients, you want to increase your metabolic rate, eat more protein. Boom.
Bingo. Yeah, that's so true. So true.
Can I One more
Yeah.
thing. I just want to say this. In my experience, right? So I didn't do this. When I lost the weight the first time, when I originally lost the 135 pounds, I didn't weight train at all. I lost so much muscle. I was only able to eat maintenance at 2,400 calories. Okay. This was back in 2021. My maintenance calories were 2,400. Okay. You're going to be so mad at me. But because I've been weight training on a consistent basis since 2021, 5 years now. 5 years, Jay. I've been weight training for 5 years now. That's crazy.
I'll drink some water to that, George.
Man, that's great. And so, but I've been upping my weight's been going up, but my protein intake has also been going up with consistent disciplined weight training. Now, between my job and weight training 4 days a week, I have to eat between 35 and 4,000 calories. Why? Because over the course, I know it's crazy. Because over the course of those 5 years, because of the consistent training and the protein intake of whole, good, natural protein, my metabolic rate has shot up. My baseline metabolic rate to just exist, if I was like sitting on the couch or laying down, is almost 2,000 calories just to exist. That's 400 calories less than my maintenance was 5 years ago. So I'm telling you guys, you want to get your metabolic rate up, your body's ability to digest food and use energy, protein, and weight training. Mine's almost doubled.
That's amazing. Yes, I agree. Like the protein content is essential. I know that's my foundation. I'm probably about 70% protein in a day, or I would say 65-70% protein, and then we go to carbohydrates and healthy fats. And what I like about this food guide pyramid too, that we're observing, the new one, is fruits and vegetables are right next to the protein. And it's important that we mention this because we do have, we're very much pro protein. We're very much pro animal fat. Not a fan of how they are killed in inhumane ways. Unfortunately, America needs to be better at that. We need to be better at that. So, but going on to the vegetables and fruits, this is an essential part too to prevent and even improve your lifestyle, prevent disease and improve your lifestyle. The vegetables and fruits are full of good macronutrients. They're full of good micronutrients, antioxidants, plant polyphenols, just all these variations of nutrition. God gave us fruits and vegetables to consume and to enjoy. And I love myself some green beans, some broccoli, some salads. I love berries. I'll eat, heck, I'm even eating whole ginger now, like just raw ginger, just eating that and some honey, like with honey on top, so it gets burning, man. But I'm all about this stuff. And if you can get it in organic form, please try that. Please do that. It's best for you. Pesticides are not good chemically for your body. But you can also just use white vinegar and baking soda for 15 minutes, and that'll help really get a lot of those off the vegetables and fruits. However, it's not like would be organic. But yeah, I think it's important that we see the fiber content, the healthy foods that come with that. When you consume a lot of meat, you consume a lot of protein, it could unfortunately bind people up, right? Or cause constipation. It can cause just some bad things for people. So consuming fruits and vegetables on top of that, with that, partnering with them, I think it's a great thing. And I know I consume a large salad pretty much on a daily basis. I'll have a small apple pretty much every other day. I'll eat the banana with the skin as long as it's organic. I'm savage like that. And then sauerkraut. Man, I'm all about berries. I love it. I'm so glad they exist. When I was doing keto back in the day, George, I remember I didn't touch a single, like maybe I would touch greens, but I wouldn't touch anything else. And I was miserable because I wanted watermelon in the summer. My friends are eating watermelon and they're eating grapes and pineapple, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm
And
just
how
gonna
can
eat
we?
a beef stick.
Because I did the same thing. How I look back and I'm like, how could we vilify
I know.
natural food like that? Like
Yeah.
that's because we at 600 pounds down, we're whole food champions, equal and balanced diet, all about it. Just make sure you hit your goals and hit your protein. Coach George, always hit your protein. Listen, always hit your protein. But I just I used to vilify fruits all the time. I used to vilify honey, bro. I eat fruit and honey almost every day now. I
Yeah,
love it.
good. Good.
Yeah, it's great because what we forget to do, because New Year's resolutions, it's January, right? Everyone's doing like, oh, I'm doing a carnivore, I'm doing keto. You know how many people I've had come in the store saying, hey, I'm going to try the new carnivore diet, I need some meat, and they get deli roast beef, and I was like, jeez. Like, great.
Good luck,
But
buddy.
but that's what happens. See, you start sacrificing micronutrients like your vitamins and your minerals and your fat soluble vitamins in particular, and you're diminishing your body's capacity for overall functional health. And so you really need to just I'm not saying track your micronutrients. That's a little bit, neurotic. But if you do that, that's cool. No judgment. But if you just make sure, like I do a chicken wrap every day, and I load that with veggies like lettuce, tomatoes, onions, green peppers, banana peppers, pickles. Like I load that sucker up, just so I can make sure I get those greens in there, and then I have fruit and cottage cheese and stuff like that. Just making sure I give my body adequate energy, because your
Yes.
body knows what to do with it. That's the thing. You eat whole foods, your body is not second guessing on what to use this for, right? It already knows.
Yeah. That's really good. Yeah, you use the whole food approach. And when we talk about whole foods, we're not discriminating against carbohydrates, by the way, or grains. I'm not a big fan of whole wheat or anything like that. I do think, genetically modified wheat is not good for you. I'm more of a sprouted grain fan. I'm more of a sweet potato or a red potato fan. I like sprouted oats. I think they're great. So yeah, you can have, and even rice. Rice is okay. I'm okay with all those carbohydrates. But the fact of the matter is, we've overconsumed them for so long, they become a natural part of our plate, in enhanced version of our plate. It's like half the plate is a starch, and the rest of it's a protein and maybe a little bit of a fruit or vegetable, right? It's like it's just backwards. So you guys can have, and we can have carbohydrates. I love them. I'm kind of moderate on mine. I lift and I also do a lot of cardio. My body doesn't respond the best with them. They do best with, I can just know my body. I know what happens when I overconsume. And this is not for everyone, but I will do more fruits and vegetables than anything else. And I really kind of cap my limit on about 100 grams of carbohydrates, between 80 to 100 grams of carbohydrates a day. And if there's a leg day, I'm eating more, because that's a larger muscle group and requires more energy to be, I guess, brought back into the muscle. And that comes from your carbohydrate source and healthy protein sources. But man, just got to be wise with your diet. George is on his feet all day long, lifting things and putting things and lifting weights, and his job is demanding to him to be active. So his carbohydrate consumption is going to be different than mine. And he can get away with it because he's trying to gain more muscle, and on top of that, he's very active. So George, I know you eat a bunch of carbohydrates, and they're healthy carbohydrates. You're not eating a bunch of sugar and things like that. You're doing the right thing with yours.
Right. So a lot of times I'll do some jasmine rice. I actually have an inn at work, so there's a couple of girls that I work with. They love making sourdough bread.
Nice.
So I get some sourdough bread every so often, which is really great for gut health. The older I get, Jay, the more I am about gut health. So that's why I eat cottage cheese every day. Get some of those cultures in there, get some of those enzymes in there. Helps keep everything moving, and keeps my gut healthy. Sometimes when you eat a lot of when you don't have a lot of like those cultures and enzymes, you get these, I call them little acid geysers. They kind of go off in there. We don't like acid geysers. We like copacetic and everything. But speaking of George lifting, can we just talk about? I'm going to give it its due. Can we talk about how muscle is finally being acknowledged as health? Can we just talk about that?
That's a whole new topic. But yes, go ahead. Just give it.
Bro, like, because with the
flavor.
with the protein and with the carbohydrates being lower and the healthy fats and the protein and muscle is just being finally accepted as having a health effect, right? Because what was it before? Dude, what was it before? It was BMI. Where's your BMI? Well, listen, according to BMI, I'm overweight.
Yep, me too. Yeah.
I am 6'2", 220. I wear a large shirt and I'm a 32-inch waist, and the BMI tells me I'm overweight. But we don't take into account the muscle around the frame. We don't take account in that stuff. So the new understanding now is that losing weight without muscle loss is better than just losing weight. That's why protein is so high. That's why protein is getting its due, because more muscle you have in your frame, the longer you live, the better that life is lived, right? Yep. Blood sugar control, joint health, long-term independence. Dude, I got to tell you this story. I was at work yesterday. This lady comes in, and I mean, she has a cane, but she's moving pretty good. She's moving pretty good. She's driving herself still, and she's walking in. Cognitively, she's there. Dude, she was 85. There are so many 80-year-old people that I see that are just chair-bound, housebound, hunched over, severely overweight. This lady was fit. The only reason she had a cane is because she just had a hip replacement. That's it. And I'm just like, can I just tell you, because I thought she was in her 70s. Can I just tell you that I love the fact that you're 85 and you're walking in here like you own the place? Like, I just think that is great. And she goes, well, you just got to eat healthy and keep moving. And I'm like, exactly.
That. Come on, preach. We got to have her on the podcast.
Exactly. Oh, I love that.
That's so good.
So because when people diet without strength training, right, they lose weight, but it's not good weight. So and here's the misconception. This is gonna be my last thing, and then I'll turn it back over. But so does that mean I need to lift like a bodybuilder? Does that mean I need to lift heavy? No. All you need, and I recently made a Facebook post about this. Your body doesn't know whether you're lifting a 5, a 10, a 25, or a 55 pound weight. Your body has no idea. All your body knows is that it's lifting something heavy that causes resistance. But resistance scaled to ability is enough. That's all you need. People look at me and they're like, dude, how much you bench, bro? Like, how much you bench? You bench like 225, 265? I bench 160.
Man.
On a Smith machine. On a Smith machine.
No shame.
But they're like, how do you get that chest? Because the body doesn't care how much weight you lift. Your body only cares about the stimulus. And I give my body enough stimulus in the style and the way that I train. I'm able to use 160 pounds like most people use 225.
Yeah. But you're avoiding potential shoulder issues and everything else that comes with that. I've talked to so many people who've done bench pressing and just for strength, and they wanted to keep increasing their strength. And I would say 3 out of 5 that I've talked to, oh man, my shoulders are so messed up now. They can't continue because they're putting so much pressure and so much on the joints around, right? And then you're causing some issues. So yes, it's wise to not overdo the weight if you can help it.
Well, and there's a difference between muscles and tendons, and I think people don't understand that, right? They think your muscles grow and adapt, right? They grow, adapt, rebuild. So you break them down, they rebuild stronger. Your tendons don't do that. Okay, your tendons don't grow. So here's the part of the problem. If you start lifting heavy, too heavy, and your muscles might grow, right? That's stimulus. I'm telling you right now, your muscles are going to grow. But the problem is you're not letting the tendon adjust to the muscle size. Mm-hmm. So if you are lifting too heavy for too long and that muscle might be growing, the problem is the tendon is not given enough time to catch up biologically. So then what happens? Tendinitis, tears, immobility, and it gets worse from there. So you need to take into account not just the muscle, but giving your tendons and ligaments enough time to stretch out and get used to the load.
Yes.
And that's when a good personal trainer comes into play.
Hey, there you go. I love that. We have some plans for you if y'all want some help with that. No, and this is why it's important to have the protein. Going back to the protein topic, right? You want to consume protein to help heal what you're breaking down. If you're a person who's not consuming enough protein, you're more prone to injury, actually, because you're not repairing what you're breaking down. And you're not giving the repair building blocks that protein really is to the body, and you're not receiving that enough. So there's another reason why we want to enhance our protein consumption and have a healthier diet in general. No, thanks for sharing that, George. I do want I know we're trying to make these episodes within an hour, a little less if we can. And George really shared some great information there, and it goes perfectly along with what we're talking about today because it enhances. Why not enhance your workout regimen? Why not enhance your lifestyle that you're utilizing exercises, whatever you're doing for exercise? Why not utilize that with a healthy diet to create the best version of you? That's what we're talking about there. And so that goes along with the new food guide pyramid that we're looking at. I want to just make sure I'm going to share it one more time, George, because I want them to see it for what it is. And I want to hit on a few more things
Yes.
and why this is important. So one thing I have noticed about the research behind this and about the different variations of views, really, again, we talked about this a little bit already, but the old approach was more like calorie focus. Have these versions of things, low fat, have this version, and that way it's not over consuming calories, and there we go, but we still got fat. But the new approach is more, let's do some nutrient enhancement. Let's make sure we're getting, quality food to help us really, really have our bodies heal and have our bodies operate the way they should. So that's what we're really focusing on. And the way the food pyramid is designed today will give you just that. The other thing I want to say too is the old way, I mean, there wasn't much mention because of the fat that we were supposed to avoid. Like you were saying earlier, George, that required for other ingredients to be present in some of the other foods we were consuming that weren't fat related, and that includes sugar. And so there was not a lot of mention about sugar back. I mean, it didn't really seem to matter so much, right? Because we had those Snackwell cookies that were both zero fat, but lots of they had a lot of sugar in them. So we would consume fat-free, but enhance our sugar consumption, which was leading to inflammation, which was causing and triggering disease. Chronic inflammation over a period of time leads to heart disease, leads to certain cancers, and leads to other variations of diseases that are causing people to die early or just have a poor quality of life, which we don't want. And the new approach, as you can see, has a more, sugar is not really on here. In fact, carbohydrates are on the lower end of the spectrum. And the RFK administration here, they're saying avoid sugar as much as possible. And we're not talking natural sugars, we're talking about processed sugars that are added to the foods or added to your diet. Avoid those sodas, avoid those candies, avoid those chips, avoid those ice creams, everything else you can, and eat those sparingly. And George was saying, I'm a big fan too. Honey is amazing. I'll go ahead and have a honey on stuff all throughout the day. I'm not over consuming it though, but there's a lot of great nutrients in honey. It's great antioxidants, great for your immune system, and it's been used for ages to bring healing to the body. So why not continue to use that? Raw, unfiltered honey is best. Local, raw, unfiltered honey is best. Get that down today. That's a good one to go to because it has your local allergens, your local pollen, I should say, that helps protect against allergens. And there you go. You have some protective mechanisms there. I will also say saturated fat was demonized back in the day. We already talked about this, but I want to recap. Saturated fat was demonized back in the day, George, and now today it challenges that science. The food pyramid today, RFK administration here, they are challenging that science because more and more research is coming out that saturated fat is not the bad guy as it once was described to be. And in fact, can be protective in some areas, and in fact, can be consumed in moderation and be fine. The culprit was more of the sugar because sugar was an inflammation response once it was, especially, we're talking about processed sugar, was creating an inflammation response as it was digested and processed in the body. Inflammation not necessarily was more of the killer, was more of the potential of creating disease than fats ever will be. Okay? So we do pay attention to that. And then, we're focusing on metabolic activity here. And this new approach creates that, as George was just talking about. The protein content stabilizes blood sugar. It builds muscle. It helps to burn more fat. It increases metabolic rate. It's good. The thermal effect begins to happen when you process and digest protein. Versus the old method, when you're over-consuming carbohydrates, it was more focused on calorie restriction, but not really doing anything beneficial for your metabolism. Think about that. So there's a lot of variational differences here, and it's about stinking time we let this happen. And I am a fan. I am excited. I've applied this to my life already, and it was just a matter of time till the world started talking about it. Now, again, it wasn't met without opposition. And the only ones who opposed it were in the old scientific researchers out there that think saturated fat's bad for you, cholesterol's bad for you, and all this stuff's bad for you. I'm going to tell you something straight out. I'm not a doctor. But it is better for you to eat saturated fat. Hear me out on oh man, this makes me so mad. It's so much better to eat a stinking egg than it would be to have a bowl of Special K. It's so much better for you to have a piece of steak than it is to have a Hot Pocket.
Facts.
Better for you to have. I'll even
Amen.
It's so much better for you to have bacon. I'm saying it, and I know it's processed, even the processed bacon, over your donut and over your Starbucks drink that you get at the Starbucks. You are killing yourself with your old way of eating, and those people, George, are calling this new approach terrible for you while they're sucking down the junk that's killing them and killing America. Get over yourself. Be open-minded and don't hear what this person is not saying. They're not saying go ahead and eat whatever you want. They're not saying eat an abundance of fat. They're not saying eat all this. They're simply saying get the crap out of your diet, eat whole natural foods, and watch your health increase. And be mindful of how your body responds. And be open to what your doctor's saying. But I'm saying this is a total transformation shift. I'm really passionate about this, man. It's not okay on how people are reacting to this. And just because it's part of the Trump administration, bro, calm down. Let's not make this political. Let's make this American. Let's make this America. Let's make this about people.
I'm going to say two things. First thing, if I were to advise as someone's trainer, I would advise to have a nutrient-dense diet and a good nutrient profile over calorie counting. I'm going to say that one more time. I would advise a robust nutrient profile over counting calories, because that's exactly what it was, Jay. The old food pyramid was calorie counting. This one is a nutrient-dense profile. And the pyramid didn't make you heavy, but it didn't help you either. And that's the thing. So the fix isn't this new graphic that Jay's talking, that Jay's absolutely right. The fix is a new way of living. This graphic is showing you what Coach Justin, Coach George, and many others who have lost 600 pounds have been doing. And we've been saying this for a long time. And the people who have skin in the game, who have actually had real life success, we've been doing the infographic on the right, not the one on the left.
I think America is finally realizing and waking up. And it's finally at a place where people are they're cautious about what we're eating today. People are becoming more mindful. They are waking up. But it's not without fight backs, not without people resisting. Because why? We love our foods way too much to give them up without kicking and screaming. If you want to continue being unhealthy and you want to continue living an unhealthy lifestyle, keep doing what you're doing. But if you're ready for change, you start applying some differences. And even if you don't apply the whole new food pyramid, okay? Even if you only give it 50%, you'll be 50% better off than you were without doing it.
Absolutely. The science simply proves the testimony of the weight loss bodies. So the physique that I have, the physique Justin has, is evidence of the science that is protein first, healthy fats, low processed starch and carbohydrates. It's just the proof is in the pudding.
Guys, thank you for joining us today. Really, this is going to save a lot of lives, and it's going to it may break some of the pockets and empty some of the pockets of big pharma one day. Don't shut us down for that. It's a theory, not a fact yet. Okay?
Good cover.
Yeah. But
that's what you want to throw that was? That was an algorithm switch. That's what that was.
This has the ability to make your doctor's schedule a little more doable. This has the ability to take you from ailment driven to healthier driven. You can have your life back. And if you never ever come to us for coaching, if you never ever come to us for dietary advice on what you should be eating or what you should be doing, or we're encouraging you, if you never come to us for one of those things, if you just look at the food guide pyramid today and what we're talking about today and you apply that, that's really all you need. It's really all you need. I mean, you figure it out yourself from there. But if you start there, you'll have a better body, a healthier body, and your body will just, over time, just become a healthier version of it. What do you got, George? Anything before we leave?
No, listen, I'm going to amen everything he just said. And we're going to keep doing what we've been doing, Jay. We've been doing this for the last better part of a decade. You have. I've been doing this for the last half decade. And I think we're going to keep it going.
Yeah. I think we care too much about people to let them just go out of nowhere and not hear the truth, right? We want them to be indoctrinated with something better than what they're indoctrinated with in the past. This is us trying to share with you hope in the future. Love you guys. Thank you so much for joining us today. We'll be back another episode. George and I get together again, but there's more coming here. And George, what are they going to come back to next time? What's it called?
600 Pounds Down podcast.
We love you guys. Have a great one.